Oh, only 2 loyal dogs. It's all right. We'll get it back, and they'll come back, and I'm going to call them all out.
Exactly. Where you been?
Where you been?
You like that mic right up in the face, don't you?
I like being on the court. That's what I like being. That was fun.
Yeah?
Yeah, that was good.
Did you guys have practice this morning, or are you having a
No, we couldn't have. We had day with Sunday games. You got to take Mondays off.
Yep.
Day out of a week, so we'll go today. We're doing individuals with some of the guys. So some of the guys got in this morning about 10:30 and got on the court and trying to get better.
I know you love it when I ask you questions you're not prepared for, but is there any update whatsoever on the basketball facility?
Yes. Drawings, we're doing it. I don't know what the final price tag is, but they're doing it, yes.
Any ideas to when?
I couldn't give you the time. I wish I would have known the timeline. I don't. But we're moving forward with it, for sure.
Like our sort of lifetime?
Huh?
In our lifetime?
Yeah. Well, COVID shut a lot of things down.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You know.
No, but are we thinking like 5 years, 10 years, or?
I think it was more like 3.
Okay.
I think it was closer.
Okay.
Yeah. So excited about that.
And like, how would that change things for you?
You know what? I think just having a home for your players. Our facilities are decent, but you know when you're competing, you know having a place you call your own, state of the art, walk in, alumni walk in, a lot of pride, front door to a basketball program. So a lot of different things. Gym time is a big issue, you know, in terms of getting in and those types of things. But it would help everybody.
And like, sort of open it up, and it's a great question. But it would look like, I mean, there's a few in this conference, you know, a few who really have nice ones. Are we saying like on the size of like Arizona's deal, or do you know?
I haven't been in all of them, so I don't know. But it's, you know, when they do things here, they do it to the best. And the quality, you know, it's all about, they just keep saying the quality, we want the best. And so that's what we'll get. And, you know, so many of these ones are getting outdated. These guys who've had it for 10, 20 years, so to be able to be new and those types of things, it's always really exciting. Always nice when you paint your front door and you walk in.
And sorry, just like, you know, I'm really curious now. And just the place, would it be the old pool there?
That area,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the big things that, you know, that I've heard a lot of interest in is having a separate locker room for the former players in the NBA.
Those types of things. Yeah, just, you know, something that when people come home, you know, it's also honoring the Hall of Fame. It just helps everybody from the women's team to our team to volleyball, gymnastics. There's more gym space, more gym time, more chance for players, student athletes to develop and have a place to call their own. I think those are all things just are really, really important.
And again, basketball only for the men's and women's program, or just for the men's?
Men's and women's. Oh, yeah.
We expect more definitive answers.
I'm sorry. I thinking about Stanford. I apologize.
I wasn't planning on going.
He went there.
One of the things, you know, I wasn't able to go down there, but I know one of the things that drives you crazy, and you say when you guys stop playing well is when the ball stops.
Mm-hmm.
And when you guys were playing well, for example, against Arizona and real early against Arizona State, there was a lot of ball movement, quick ball movement, and then it stopped. Why does it stop?
You know what? That's a good question. We practice it. You'll see Coach Pondexter do it. We do a drill like that before our games. We do it every day, and it's one of those things. Could be fatigue. You know, sometimes people think too much, but the more that it pops, the more that the energy finds the open man. You shoot better. You know, it's one of those things. You just got to keep chipping away. You just got to keep doing it, and we will. But that was when the ball stops, and then in the Arizona State game, it was 27 points in transition. You know, our half-court defense was fine. You just can't give anybody, you know, 27 points in transition. You can't do it. So some things that we need to iron out for sure, and I think that goes back to fatigue. You know, that's, hate to say it, but it's the only explanation that I can come in with, because in other games that we've done it at a high level.
Hey, just how much is just not having a pass first true point guard, a guy who's been doing that specific deal for the past 10 years, kind of maybe affecting some of this?
Well, like anything, like having in football, I think we got really good guards. I think we have guys who have played the position. And just having somebody out there that can really organize us and get us in our stuff. That's a big thing. But we also got to get these guys better within that. There's going to be a lot of coaching, and we're going to have to do that. But having a Dejon Davis or a Terrell Brown when they first came, they were 5th and 6th year guys who have run teams. So late clock, anything like that, the organization. If someone misses a play, some of the guys now they're still learning the plays, and some are playing point guard and 2, and so that's kind of has been that. But we've got really good guards. We just don't have that traditional, get over there. So we're just going to have to and we got to get the young guys better because they're really good players.
And it would seem that right now that person for you is Noah, but it's been some time since he's been a point guard.
Yeah, and playing. He's a really good passer. He gets in the lane. But I think the same thing, he's been out for so long. There's a rhythm to the game. There's a conditioning element to the game. It's like in the preseason, you do all the running, you touching lines and, suicide. You're doing all that stuff, and then the game comes and it's just different. You're getting hit, stop, start. And so, but he looks a lot better. You can see him starting to get a little bit more comfortable. I had him out there earlier today. But there's still a process. But he's a guy that can run your offense for sure.
Not even the basketball, I know is important, but you got a couple of your older guys that just had a lot of turnovers the last, 3-4 weeks.
We got to clean that up.
In Jamal and DJ.
Yeah.
I know you don't want to take their stinger away, but a lot of it doesn't seem to be coming from that.
You know what? I think sometimes ball stops. The game is a game of energy, so it's contagious. This guy stops it, then this guy stops it. It's funny how the game works. But yeah, we've got to be more, limit some of the things that guys are trying to do, make sure the playmakers have the ball in their hands. And then you've got to be, you just got to be smart. Against pressure, we tell them you can't make bounce passes as entry passes. They're overplaying and, basic things that you got to practice that you just can't keep doing that. You can't give Arizona the first game, 5 layups off of passes. Even if it goes out of bounds, at least you can set up your defense. And so that's where we just got to get better there.
Does reputation for fouling and fouling early lead to calls? And talking about Brandon, you got some real questionable foul calls.
Braxton.
Yeah.
In our league, we've got great officials. I think sometimes, like our Arizona game was real physical. There was a lot of bumping. I thought there was a little bit in Arizona State, and so I've just felt like the consistency of that physical play. He did push. Braxton did push. But on the flip side, that's just, hopefully it evens out, but he needs to be smarter than that. There's always going to be a call that you question. We're coaches and they're not perfect, but it's a hard game to ref, and we got to make sure that we keep him out of foul trouble. He's been able to play with 2 and 3 fouls, but he's also less aggressive, and we need an aggressive Brax. So defending without fouling and walling up and being more disciplined is something that we're going to really work on this week and the rest of the season, because he's critical to our success on both ends of the floor.
Then like that, and you sort of touched on this after the ASU game, but the plan B when Braxton goes out, do you guys have to get better? All right, so we don't have our big guy, we don't have that thing that makes us different. Now, what lineup is, do you like the 4-guard lineup? Do you like the Jackson Grant lineup?
I thought Jackson came in and played a really good defense. I thought, he had a couple blocks, he had a couple wall-ups, which were able to stay big and physical. I thought Langston came in. I played him for the first time, and he just makes some things happen. He gets an offensive rebound. Like, when you're not scoring, you need guys who can generate points that don't need the ball, however that may be. And he's one of those guys. And then you have the opportunity to go small. that could be an option. We've done that. Last year we did it a lot. It helped us in a lot of games. So I think we have the options. It just goes back to every game's going to be a little bit different. What you can't do is you can't turn it over. And when we're small, that can't happen. Our offense has to be better than what our potential defense could be, being small. And, but those are the options. Those are the 4 options.
And with sort of Jackson up there, he took that 3 there. Does he have that sort of
I think the one thing that he really does, he can really shoot the ball. We've talked about, especially with drop coverage, when this guy comes down, him having the ability, if you go down, he's going to be wide open because the whole defense is going to shift. He's been working on that shot. Last year at Arizona, we had a play to try to get him that shot. One of Jackson's strengths is he's very skilled. He's a good shooter. And a little bit like if you saw Lauri Markkanen play for them, he did a lot of pick and pops. We're still learning and working through the confidence piece of that, but it's something he needs to grow and will be a big part of his development as he moves forward.
I think, the defense, for the most part, has been pretty good. But how do you score more points?
Yeah, that's the issue. You can't win on the road shooting 30. We shot 38 in the second half, and we went on a 12-0 run with 2 minutes to go, and the game was gone. So we really shot about 32, 33. So we don't have a large margin for error. We looked at the quality of shots that we got to get in Arizona. I felt like we got really good shots. Some end of the shot clock, that's going to happen. But for the most part, like anything, you got to make them, and then we got to make our foul shots. When you don't have a large margin for error, you got to limit your turnovers, 17 to maybe 12 or 11, and keep getting the ball movement. Earlier in the year, we did a great job of getting to the foul line with our aggressive. We were bigger, getting the paint. But the three-point shot is something that, we got to be more consistent with.
Is there a guy on the bench that you can insert to get that ball moving? Maybe a designated ball mover? I don't know.
I think it's more of, if you don't move the ball, you're going to be sitting next to me. And then because we've got a lot of good guard options, it's one of those things, I think, just buying into what we're doing is a big piece of it, and limit some of the guys. I think sometimes we have guys that are trying to make plays that aren't great at it. I don't think they're doing it in a selfish way. They're just trying to move. But the ball handlers who can get in the paint, and you got Keon Minifield getting 8 assists. You get some guys 3 assists, 4 assists. That's what we need, and that's when we got better shots. Is when we're looking for each other. Felt like in Arizona State too, we didn't find a lot of the extra pass. Felt like we were going, and sometimes when you get, I'm going to use tired. If you get fatigued, this becomes this, and we need to be like this. And so fatigue makes cowards of us all. So I think. I thought in our first half we had energy. I think in the second half we didn't have energy. And, we've got to have that to be able to be effective. Teams don't want to play in the half court against us. So they do whatever they can to do to beat you down the court to try to get easy baskets. That's where turnovers and bad shots lead to the transition.
Do you think in this next game you get Corn Johnson back into the rotation? Or? Yeah, no,
Corn's a good player. Again, another really good ball handler. He's disruptive on the defensive end. But yeah, good player. He needs to be the guy getting 3 or 4 assists and 1 turnover because he has the ability to do that.
With Keon Minifield, I know he's young, and just getting some consistency out of him is key. And I know he's young. Is he getting body up? Is he getting roughed up a little bit? They trying to take him out of his game?
I don't think so. I just think he's a guy that needs to. He's a freshman. They're not going to be perfect. They're going to have some growing mistakes. We got to be able to live with it because both him and KJ are really talented. It just goes back to there has to be a lot of teaching. But they've got unique ability. They both have no fear. They got to learn to be a little bit better on a ball screen. I think if you look at assist to turnover ratio, Minifield's almost a 2.5 to 1, and KJ's around a 1 to 1. He needs to be a 2.5 to 1, and you start playing multiple guards that have 2.5 to 1. Well, our shooting will be better. Our points per game will be better, and everybody will be happier.
With Keon Minifield, again, he's a freshman, he's away from home, you know, and you go through the rough patch like you've had here, you know, just, how hard is it just to kind of keep him on track, like I said, just with college and just being that far away from home and going through things he's never had to do?
Yeah, it's hard. Being a freshman is hard. I remember going back and being a freshman. It was that, well, in Syracuse it was snowy, so it was like, gosh, it was 30 below. Like, I'm going to class at 8:30 in the morning. You know, like, well, today might be the day the alarm just got hit the snooze a couple of times, and then you miss it. Next thing you know, they're running you, or you're late for this or that. You know, because you know, learning time management. I think those are all things. Those are just growing pains. I think the game, as it slows down for them, and really understanding it's a college pick and rolls for your team. High school pick and rolls for you. You know, you're trying to score behind it, but you can't sit there and dribble and let everybody else sit there and watch you play. You know, it's got to be used. It's for the team, and then however they defend it, now you got to make the read. But they're both. We've got great people on our roster, but the time management piece is every freshman that I've ever seen in the 35 years that I've coached. It's always probably the biggest issue, but they're great kids, great people.
Do you think you guys need more, and can you get more from Keon Brooks? It seems that, you know, that he's been as billed, but last year in that somewhat similar role, you had Terrell, and like there were games that he literally put you guys on his shoulders and kind of carried you through. Does Brooks have that capability, or do you even want him to do that?
Yeah, I think he's a really good player. He's been a consistent double around guy. I think he'll shoot better from the three-point line. That's what would take his whole game a little bit different. When we've had him, he's rebounded when we've needed him. When he's had to get a big basket, he's been there, shooting well from the foul line. I think we need this type of team. It's going to be, you know, he's obviously been our go-to guy. We're going to need some balance from everybody else. You know, some consistency from everybody else. You know, Jamal's had the ability to shoot 50% in the league from three, and he's around 22. You know, it's got to be better. We got to work harder. We got to get in the gym, and we will. But it's interesting how college is. It's like watching Cal. They had lost a lot of those games, and you look at their shooting percentages, and they were all the way down here. In the last game, like all of a sudden, they kind of hit a spark. It's 16 for 22, and they break a record. And you know, it's just it's the work every day, and keeping them believing, keeping them confident, getting better. A big thing for us, transition defense. Offensively, we've got to move it better. We got to keep moving. We got to share it. And if we do that, we'll shoot better.
To like that, and like keys for Thursday would be what?
Stanford poses a different challenge. They're different than Arizona. They will turn you over because of they're big and they're physical. They're going to bump you off your spot. That's where the biggest challenge. They're huge. They've got a veteran team. They've got everybody back from last year's team. Preseason picked 5. Can't look at their record because they've played one of the toughest schedules in the country. So I think we have to be strong with the ball. We got to set better screens. We got to be ready for their physicality. And they you know, after we had beaten them, I think we were up 20 at halftime of our game here last year. In the second half, they cut it all the way down. You know, they were really aggressive. They got in our gaps. We've got to do a better job defending that. But our keys, Percy, have been very simple. Like our half-court defense has to be at a high level. We got to finish it with rebounding, and then offensively, we got to do what we do, but we got to do it better. We got to cut harder. We got to work on our spacing, and then if we keep the ball moving and make the extra pass, you'll shoot better. So it's the way it works. It's the way it works, and you know, we'll work on that these next couple days and get ready to play hopefully our best game of the year on Thursday night.
Hey, like, you know, obviously you like have to coach your own team, but any sort of quick explanation as to why Stanford have not lived up to their expectations?
I think college basketball is hard. You know, they played a schedule that would be as hard as anything, and I think it's also sometimes teams, and I don't know anything that's going on with Stanford. I just going what we went through a couple years ago, and even at the beginning of last year, is so much of this is confidence in their kids, and sometimes they have a lot of confidence, sometimes they don't. You just got to keep trekking away. Jared's a really good basketball coach. He's been a great coach since he's been there, where he was before. Took him to the NCAA tournament. Sometimes it could be chemistry. Sometimes somebody could be hurt and you don't know it. So many of these things that you don't know, chemistry, injury, but this league is probably the deepest in terms of a lot of good teams. This year I think Cal's playing a lot better than their record. I know Stanford, if you look at a lot of their games, they were really close games. The year we had Isaiah and Jaden, we lost 9 in a row, 7 where we had the lead or were tied with a minute to go in the game. So we were close to having 9 more wins, being 14-5 rather than being 5-14, whatever it was. That's how close this is. And so you got to respect everybody you play. To win, you got to play a really good game. You can't expect to just go in and it's going to work out this way. You got to go earn it. And but through my experience personally, that would be my explanation of how a team might have expectations and maybe not have the.
How important is getting a win on Thursday? And if you're able to win that game on Thursday, what would it mean?
I think just we talked about belief in confidence. Our guys believe. I think they've been playing hard, but you gotta get through the finish line. You don't slow down at the end and do this. You run through the tape and then do this, and we got to finish. We got to finish strong. We've had too many 15-row run, 13-0 run, and we got to execute. We got to be confident. We got to be flying around. And when you get a win in this league, on the road or at home, it's awesome. But you got to put everything into it, like we do every game. I don't want to make it this game's bigger than this one or this one's bigger than this one. We just got to play better. And what's right in front of us right now, that's what we worry about. This is how we're going to win. This is what we have to do to execute to win. And then let's go out there and execute and get better. That's the plan.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Drink more water. That's my message.
Appreciate you.
Purse, you're the best.
January, drink more water.
Drink more water. I got to drink